Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of What We Do in the Shadows, Citizenship. And this was a nice, solid episode. They did a great job on the joke escalations with both what was going on with Jenna, what was going on with Nandor with his citizenship and everything. So we start off the episode and we get an update on what's going on with Jenna. She's like, I've been feeling really kind of freaky, seeing some really great effects as she's kind of transitioning into a vampire, seeing her reflection in the mirror going kind of crazy. Nadja's actually checking up on her, like, oh, the little stupid baby. We see her like levitating over the bed when she's asleep, and her roommate freaking out and trying to get a picture, but right as she's able to, her falling down onto the bed. I'm like, yeah, if that were ever to kind of happen to me, I'd be like, freaked out at first, do a double take. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take a picture of this. And right as you get to taking a picture, it's over, and you're like, God damn it. But it even gets better from there. We see her talking about, like, getting weirder reactions. She gets to class, and she just sees, like, Jesus on a cross during a slide, starts hissing out, gets into a patch of sunlight, starts burning herself. She's like, I'm getting really weird sensitivities and everything. Books it out of class as she's, like, running through the campus in broad daylight with a hoodie over her head, and just seeing her like burning and everything, which then goes to her being like a feral animal in the park, hissing at people and acting all crazy and all that. I'm just glad that we've gotten to a point where she's gone from that kind of dead portion to actively kind of eating shit, like she's eating rats and animals and all that, and not just like, all right, I'll get to this. We also get into the house and we see that they're doing like a house meeting and everything. Nandor, of course, is trying to be the boss and be the leader and everything, saying if you bring someone home, please escort them out. And if you leave the house, please turn off, blow out the candles, kind of like this. Now, there's some good stuff going on in there because Laszlo and Nadja were just like, fine, whatever. And constantly kind of like interrupting him and undermining him, getting to a point where they're like, what's that kind of smell? And we find out that Colin had found this new kind of cologne aftershave in the restroom, and then he put it on. And Laszlo's like, why the hell would you do that? And you'd be like, to annoy you guys. And just the way Laszlo's like touche, like he understands, like, damn it, that's how he does it. And seems actually important because Nandor brings up being the ruler of his country and that kind of stuff and being a leader there, and he finds out that his country hasn't existed since like the 1400s, and it really kind of breaks him. He goes into a little thing how he carries around a little patch of soil from there, not because he needs to, but because he kind of wants to, because he was taken out for all the atrocities of the pillagings, the raidings, the torturings, all this stuff, and it's just like, Of course, while this is going on, that's when Jenna kind of gets brought back into the effect as now just kind of like testing her around the house. She had met her outside of the community college and said, honey, you feel like crap because you're eating crap. You need to get your first human kill to become a full-fledged vampire. And then she kind of brings her back to the house and starts kind of testing her out while Nandor's having his kind of existential crisis about his country being gone and being like, I don't have any home and everything. And Nandor's actor just fucking nails it because he's this kind of, I like the energy he has when he's trying to be the leader and trying to figure out stuff and do the daily kind of stuff. But he's really got a good knack for being like that kind of despondent kind of thing over what's going on with his country. He's like, I don't have any home. I don't have a country. And, of course, Moore kind of brings up that, hey, you can take the citizenship test and become an American citizen. And that's kind of crazy. Just being like asking him all these questions about America, being like, hey, who's George Washington? America's first gay president. And it's like, the thing is, he's been around that long. He could know some stuff. And it's just like, oh God, great joke there. And while this is going on, we see that Nadja is trying to teach Jenna, like, all about being a vampire, that evidently all vampires have a special power, and Nadja's like, well, I'm a good crawler. Goes up and you're like, hey, why don't you try? Of course, Jenna tries to do it, and she, of course, falls down and everything. Laszlo kind of comes in and tries to see what's going on. And I just realized it. But they're a lot better at their joke escalation than I even thought. Second thinking about it, Laszlo said he didn't see her there and lying on the ground. At first I thought he was like, oh, it's unimportant, whatever. But it becomes important later on in the episode. And of course he's like, oh god, she's a new baby vampire, she should be put in a cage. Of course she freaks out, runs away. Nacho's like, why the fuck do you have to do that? And he's like, alright, we'll teach you how to be a great vampire. And then they go and try and teach her how to be a bat. And as they're going up there, Jenna's like starting to take off her clothes, and she's like, don't I have to take off my clothes? Don't I have to be naked for this? Otherwise, where do our clothes go? And then, I love it. Nadja's actress, they pan to her, and she's like, she doesn't say anything. It's just her facial expression that she's like, that's a good question. We don't know. Moving on kind of thing. It was just like, huh, alright. We don't know, but it just works. So they get up on the roof. Laszlo shows her how to be a bat. She attempts to do it, and she halfway does it. She's like this weird fucking ugly ass baby thing. And of course, while this is going on, Guillermo's pissed off about this. He's like, she's a vampire? Oh, this random ass. We then cut to him talking about like, oh, just this random person that they got. And to see him screaming his frustration into a pillow was just icing on the cake. I'm like, I completely understand you, man. You've done so much more shit for these guys, and you're getting fucked. Oh, and of course, this then culminates into her smacking into a window and her asking Guillermo to let her in, and he's like, whatever, and he like mumbles under her breath, like, why don't you figure out, you fucking vampire? And she's like, I can hear you, Guillermo. I have heightened senses, and just seeing him just like, oh, shit. And we find out that Nandor has started his American citizenship, but didn't go through with it. He started it in 1992, and his reason is that he liked the Olympic team, basketball team for 1992, and he has a shrine and shit to it. It was just fucking out of left field. I'm just like, yep, I can see it. And he explains that he didn't go through with it because the Macarena swept the nation and he got caught up in it. I'm like, yeah, that fits his character. That fits Nandor. So this is where they kind of diverge and everything, and we see that Nadja goes and takes Jenna on her kind of thing, and Nandor goes off to do his citizenship test. And it's funny, he was talking to the immigration dude for the citizenship test, and he at first tries to hypnotize him, and it doesn't work, and he pretty much thinks that they don't have souls and that they're pretty much like dead inside. And I find that hilarious, that how much they're knocking on like the bureaucracy and the people that work in the government. It's like, yeah, you would think that hypnotism would be really advantageous for this group of people if they didn't look like they were dead inside and feel dead inside, and hypnotism doesn't work on them. So Nandos actually have to go through all these things. Hilariously talking about the right to bear arms, thinking that you'd be like bearing your actual arms, not getting the we the people, the Constitution, a thing to oppress people. Oh, it was great. And the kicker of it, where the joke gets fucking amazing, was when he has to recite the Oath of Allegiance, and it gets to God, and he's like, do I have to say this last bit? And he says it, and his mouth bursts on fire, and he runs out, and has to deal with that. It was just like, yeah, he's not getting out on that one. He, of course, is then really depressed and walking out, and whining in the parking lot, but then Guillermo sacks up and starts yelling at him about it and saying that you're a cool ass vampire and everything. That gets his mojo back, and then of course Nandor is like, alright, cool, let's go. And Guillermo's like, hey, maybe you need a new vampire sidekick. He's like, no. And he's like, I wish I was a American citizen so that way I can buy a gun. And Guillermo's like, you don't need to be an American citizen to get a gun. It's like, huh? Really? Even back in my own country, I had to do a background check for swords. And I'm like, okay, that was a pretty good one. So, Jenna's portion, that culmination was pretty damn funny. We see that they're trying to get into this party. Of course, they're pretty much shut down by this one dude. Not just like, I'm not having any of that bullshit. And really just wrecks on his ass and lets him get in. And Jenna, of course, is having problems with this. She doesn't want to kill anybody or anything. And Nadja pointed out this one dude who was evidently in her that dude was in Jenna's stats class, and she didn't want to mess with his family and all that. Nadja's like, listen, this is a room full of assholes. You can't do anything wrong here. And we see that Jenna tried to get to this one dude, but nothing was kind of going on. It's like, all right, that's kind of weird. Of course, not just trying to show her the ropes, gets the dude who is at the front door again, pretty much makes him her thrall, and tells him to go upstairs and pretty much swirl himself 7 times. I'm like, yeah, that kind of works. And then somebody bangs into Jenna, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, spilling everything. Nadja's going after him. She's getting pissed off and wanted to get out of the place, and she starts banging into people and everything until she eventually turns invisible. I'm like, wait a minute, these people can't see her and they can't hear her. And the episode makes sense. Laszlo, since she was beginning with these powers, might have been invisible, and he couldn't hear her or whatnot. I was like, oh shit, because he was surprised that she was there. We see the same effect as she's going around, and when she turns invisible, she just goes kind of crazy. She takes the cake, fucking busts that shit up, and Nadja's so happy. She's like, oh, you could be invisible. You're going to be able to murder so many people with this power, and how proud she is of her baby vampire. She's like, all right, who do you want? And of course, they're going with the dude who spilled his drink on her. He's like doing some weird kind of thing in the front with the band, and she's like, she was testing out her power, tested out, fucking takes him, and grabs him and takes him out. And when we saw that she was testing the power, the funniest thing was that this one person had a drink and was looking at her like, and then like down, like, what the fuck is going on right now? What am I seeing? But she gets him outside and fucking comes back into being visible and just starts sucking on him and gets him like, oh, okay. And then takes up a thermos pretty much and siphons off some more blood. And at the end, she's really hyped up and be like, all right, yeah, this is really cool. Maybe we can see the sunrise and everything. And she's like, oh, honey, you're a vampire. We can't do that. She's like, wait a minute, we can do this thing like Blade with the motorcycle helmets. And you're like, oh, this isn't gonna be good, is it? So we cut and we see them on top of the roof of the house that they live at. And, oh yeah, this is pretty cool. But as soon as the sun hits them, it starts cooking them. It's like, oh fuck, this is a horrible idea. They turn into bats, and of course, Jenna's bat form is still not the good bat form, and it's like a weird half one, and they go back inside. But I'm going to be intrigued to see what they do with Jenna, because Nadja was like, oh, you're a full-fledged vampire now. Now you can begin your never-ending journey and everything, pretty much kind of washing her hands of her. She pretty much got her into the basics of everything and then just kind of let her out of the nest. So I'm going to be intrigued to see if she's just going to somehow, sometimes sporadically pop on in, or how much more she's going to weave into this story. But I'm fine with whatever they do with this. This show is just, I love how they do their jokes. I love how they do their stories. This was a pretty good episode that balanced out very well each one. I don't feel any story like Jenna's or Nandor's got short-shifted. They were both done in a manner that you got your beginning, your middles, your ends, and it didn't feel like it was rushed or anything. Each worked out well, and I can't wait to see what happens next with these group of crazy people. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.